That's everybody that's in the meeting. Just put you in the corner and you can move. You should be able to move. That's fine. You need anything? Good.
Pardon?
You need anything? Are you okay? Do you need anything?
No, I'm good. This shouldn't be a very long meeting. There's just one thing on the agenda is the Granada, and it's all worked out. So
What is it?
they're putting an awning on it, but it's in sections. I guess that's the way it originally was, before they took the old one down.
Doug, are we going to be lonesome here?
Are we what?
Are we going to be lonesome? I don't see any other faces yet.
Oh, not yet. Well,
We still have a few minutes, guys.
still 6 minutes. So
6 minutes.
You get a new neighbor down the street, Doug? In the greenhouse?
in the greenhouse.
Yeah, it where I think Dominic was.
Yeah, as far as I know, they were getting a divorce, and I don't know who's getting the house. He's there sometimes, and I think I've seen her, but I talked to him about 2 months ago.
Gentlemen, I just want to remind you that this is all on the public record.
Oh, right.
Oh, we can't even gossip about our neighbor.
Well, you could talk about them, but you may regret it at a later date.
Well, it was cheerful things I was going to say, so we're in good hands.
This is what it's going to look like, Michael.
That's not like shit. That's not gonna look very good, but that's okay.
Well, I don't know. They must have added that to that. Looks like a regular photograph. Maybe I don't. Or that might even be a different building somewhere. I don't know.
Sunny side of the sidewalk. Anything that's a color will fade in a couple of years. It's really difficult to take care
I don't even know if that's the color that it's going to be. Since it's on there, it might be.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Bob,
Yeah.
I'm having a camera issue. I have to log off and I'll log right back in, okay?
I didn't quite understand you, but okay. say hello to Forrest, but I thought he was trying to calculate what he was doing.
Hi, Bob.
There's Dawn even.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Bob, did Paula tell you that we're hoping to have a new museum commission representative? It appears my brain just went dead. Oh my gosh, Donna Lawrence is no longer. There we go. Thank you. In one of those weeks. It's only Wednesday.
She was a representative off of another commission. Well, she's gone now. Hmm.
Dawn,
Yes,
is Paula's off on an errand right now, or is she getting back?
I think she's there.
I'm here. I'm here.
Is there any good reason why we can't start if we got all our ducks in a row with short one committee person?
I think you're good to go, Bob, when you're ready.
Okay, then I'm gonna say I'm ready. I'm gonna call the Historic Landmark Commission in order for the March 24th, 2001 meeting. And the first order of business is having Paula conduct a roll call of order. Call to order. Okay, go ahead. Roll call.
Bev Aggie? I can see her. She's
Yeah.
here. Forrest Ercole,
Present.
Eric Gleason,
Here.
Doug Leash,
Here.
and Bob McNary.
Here.
Scott Randall is absent. Unless that's Scott right there.
Nope.
No, that's Chuck.
Applicant. Yep, it's Chuck.
Thank you, Paula. We had a moment ago, we had a picture of the American flag. Is it available again, Paula?
It's there. For me, it's at the top center. Are you not
Hi,
seeing it, Bob?
All right, well, it isn't on the screen. That's all I was asking if it is.
Dawn, do you see it?
It is, Bob. It's not the picture anymore. It's actually the flag in the council chambers. So it's kind of hidden right back. It's right in the middle.
All right, well, just overlooked that. It was setting front and center a while back. Forrest, will you lead us in the pledge today?
Sure, why not? I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag
to the flag
of the United
of the United States of
America
America,
and to the republic
Republic
for which
for
we
which
stand,
For which it
And
stands,
one nation,
one nation,
one
under
nation,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
with
and justice
liberty
for all.
and justice for all.
for all.
We have done that. We will improve somehow on it. I hadn't really thought of what Don did. I guess I could have stood up and I wouldn't have made any difference. It just seemed like belly button, but that wouldn't make much difference. Okay, if we can have the approval of the agenda, if you had a chance to look over your agendas and if there's any comments, additions, or subtractions from the agenda, please speak up. And other than that, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda.
I second the motion.
Fine. The motion has been made and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor, please raise your hand. We're all pretty visible here tonight. Where's my hand? There it is.
Thank you.
Okay, you got that. All right. Now, the approval of the minutes from the January 27th meeting. And I am understanding that our goals will be in that minutes. So it gets kind of long and drawn out, but is there any other way to do this? I don't see them here. Okay, good. They're not here. They was, but they're not now. Okay, that's fine.
Chair McNary, once they're approved, once the minutes are approved, I'll give you a clean copy of the goals.
Okay. The original ones I looked at had the goal settings. Oh, that's goal settings here. Is there anyone who wants to comment on the meeting, the minutes of the meeting of January?
No, Bob.
We'll make a motion, then we approve them as written. Would you please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I second the motion.
Fine. All in favor, then we'll raise our hand again if we're in favor. Okay, you got a unanimous vote.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have anyone in Never Never Land that is here to talk to us other than I see our commissioner, not our commissioner, but our applicant? Is there someone there that wants to speak on anything that relates to the Landmark Commission? Hearing none. The agenda has been changed just a little. I hadn't read it that close, but do you have something you want to say here, John? It says staff comments at this point, and I think that's not quite where we normally have them.
So in an effort to be more uniform or consistent with other agencies and other groups and council, we have been following the format, or we've been advised and are now following the format of council. So we do have it a little changed up, and so hopefully I should have said something before. Apologies for that. So we're kind of pretty much going to do. We'll follow it this week and see how it rolls. So with that, staff comments, I'm going to go ahead and share my slideshow. Well, actually, I don't need to do that. So the only items that I have today for you include the Pioneer Cemetery. Last time we met, I did discuss that, or it was brought to my attention, I think Chair McNary had mentioned that we have a look at our trees in the Pioneer Cemetery to ensure that we don't have the similar or the same beetle infestation that our Cirrhosis Park has. So I've been working with Terry Harkrader and Jerry Johnson, who are our maintenance crew. They both have gone up and inspected the site, said that we do not show any signs of any infestation at this time. However, he will be working with the arborists that the city has used in the past, and they'll be doing an analysis of the entire site to ensure that that we don't run into that problem. So they're working on that, and as soon as I get that report back from them, I will share that with you. The other item that I had, let's see, was Fort Dalles Museum. So as some of you may know, I think I did share with you some of the photos from a storm we had a few months ago, and that a tree had fallen, unfortunately, on one of the buildings. So they were working on some repairs. Last week, Eric Gleason had emailed me and talked about some bars and some interpretational signage that they have up at the museum, and wanted to make sure it did not need to come through, or if it did need to come through for review with you, that he would make application. So just looking at what the plan is and not being attached to a building, they actually won't need review before the Historic Landmark Commission. And then the interpretational signage is just going to be an informational piece up there. So Eric, do you want to add anything more to that?
No, I think that pretty well covers it. We have lost a bunch of trees up there as well, just due to both the wind damage and beetle infestation. So I don't know how many more of our pine trees up there are going to survive the next year, but not really much we can do about that. I guess we're going to hopefully come up with a tree replanting scheme at some point. And I don't know whether that should come before landmarks or not.
It probably should, because the site is landmarked. It's not just the structures. So we do have that as a significant site. So we probably should at least, I mean, whether it be a discussion and or an application, we can take a look at it at that time. I think it'd be
Okay.
good information piece.
That sounds good. And then we're trying to move forward with building a wagon display building up there as well. So
Okay.
it's still in the early stages, trying to figure out a place to site it and all of that. And we'll probably come to you guys for advice and final approval too for that.
Awesome. Okay. Is it?
Excuse me, Commissioner Gleason, what kind of a display?
Oh.
The historic wagons, display the historic wagons.
Oh, thank you.
So he said vehicle, Paula, vehicle
Oh.
display. Yeah.
Okay.
Early vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is all I had for you in terms of staff comments today.
And then, like I said, it's just a little upside down. Is any of the commissioners, or would you like me to call you off, or would you want to start speaking on your own? Have any comments on what you're seeing in this town reflecting back on our landmarks?
I just want to say I've talked to some people about the neon signs that went up on some of the historic buildings. And I've gotten complaints about the one that we were talking about last time, where it was like on the front of the building, where people were kind of confused by it being on the front of the building when it had no relevance to that business. And so I've heard a few words that people don't really seem to like them, but I've heard other things where people are like, oh, those are so pretty, love them. So I just kind of wanted to share that I did hear some grumbles about that one misplaced sign.
And I will be working with the new Main Street director in terms of what direction that they will be planning to go. So hopefully within the next month, we'll be seeing either an application or potential relocation of that. Thank you, Forrest. That was great information.
Anything further, Forrest?
No, that was it. I might email you all later on about a little research project and I need some help with, but that'll be email.
Lady before gentleman, Bev, you got something you'd like to talk about?
I mentioned about that Ben Snipes movie. Two ladies came by that are involved with it, and my senior brain's not saying their names. It's Corinne was a younger gal, and then I think it was the drama teacher from the high school, and her name, Alan, what's that teacher's name? Lowry Browning. They came by and they looked at Trevitt House, and they want to use Trevitt House, maybe some interior and exterior, as well as Ben Snipes for some of the movie of that. So it's moving along, the Ben Snipes movie. And also Dennis Morgan is the old Ben Snipes, and he's, well-loved a thespian and person of the community. So it's going to be kind of a fun project. That's all.
Doug, you got anything you want to say in pertaining to landmarks?
Oh, well, our furnace went out, so Monday they put a new one in. Little spendy, especially with not making any money with the doors closed. But anyway, it was shot, so they had to put a new one in.
So for St. Peter's, Doug?
Yes, for
Okay.
St. Peter's Landmark.
Well, Eric, you're down there. You're a little dark, but you've already spoke about the museum. Have you got anything else you want to add?
I can't really think of anything right now. We're still working on repairing storm damage at the museum, but it's mostly the interior damage at this point. The exterior is all buttoned up and fixed. So, and we received a grant from the Cultural Trust, Wasco County Cultural Trust, to do that interpretive signage. So that's going to be really good, especially these days when we haven't had our doors open so much. At least then when our grounds are open, people can see some of the signage and read some of that signage. So that's going to be a good thing. And then also we the foundation did a fundraiser for interior windows in both the surgeon's quarters and the Anderson House. So they won't be visible from the outside. They're just inserts that go into the windows to cut down on the UV light and also to help with energy efficiency. They just kind of slide in, so they won't require any kind of modification to the building or to an exterior thing. So those should help with both the heating and cooling costs and also preserving the collections from ultraviolet light. So that's about all I have to report.
Oh, Bob, I didn't mention that we had our St. Patrick's Day concert it was on YouTube, and they spent a lot of time doing it. It was different, of course, because you were photographing certain people at a time, but they did a good job, and I have to give them credit for trying to do it under these circumstances.
Good. If I may ask a question, I was under the impression when we started talking about neon signs that they would be functional. And I'm not seeing or hearing too much about how well they look when they're lit up. Is something that I didn't understand.
They are functional. So it took them, they were still working on that. The Sears sign, which is on the Sunshine Mill, it actually really pops when you're going around you should be able to see that from your window, Bob. Look out when it gets dark. Just take a look down the hill. So the Sears,
I haven't seen it on at night.
they've been illuminated. I actually, like Forrest, I received a little bit of feedback that was not positive, but actually I think I had more positive and people really commenting on how nice it is to see. And it was like a different era. And so, yeah, they have been turning them on. I haven't seen the Last Stop one on yet, but I have seen the other ones. So like Jefferson Hall, the Sears, and then obviously the one on Sigmund's, the Optimo Cigar building, the Flying A, I think it was.
I got to get out more than I can see that. Okay. I will say this much if I get an opportunity here. I think that this format can be changed because we got Charles here sitting waiting to go to work, and he's got to listen to our gossip time. So I think I'll open the public hearing at this time for Charles's application if we have no more commission comments. So wait till I flip over here and grab another sheet of paper. Now is the time for the Historic Landmark Commission to conduct a public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to consider application HLC 185-21 for Charles Gomes. How do we pronounce it, Charles?
Bob, it's Gomez. Charles Gomez.
All right, thank you. For the Granada Theater at 221 East 2nd Street. The sub criteria above, the substantial criteria above, which the Historic Landmark Commission will base its decision in this manner, are obtained by the city's comprehensive plan and land use and development ordinance. that's not too loud. My. Pardon me, I'm all sorry. I hadn't even thought about my phone ringing here. A public hearing is required by law and certain law rules apply. First and foremost, you must be recognized by the chair in order to speak and present testimony. When recognized by the chair, please proceed to a microphone and state your name and mailing address for the record. The hearing is required by law to be tape recorded. Generally, the public hearing proceeds as follows. We will open the public hearing with a staff report. The purpose of the staff report at this point is to further identify the acceptable criteria of the case being considered and to provide background information about the case. After the staff report, we will hear testimony from the proponents, those persons in favor of the application. Next, there will be testimony from the opponents, those not in favor of the application. Next, there will be testimony from anyone who may wish to offer testimony or ask questions. Then, in the honor of right to rebuttal, we will again hear from those in favor of the application. To expedite the hearing, the commission members may ask questions of persons as they testify. When this process has been concluded, we will close the public hearing portion of the hearing. During the hearing, some important standards apply. First of all, those who testify must hold their testimony to the decision criteria. As in all land use hearings, there is a complete set of rules, procedures, and criteria we must follow. Second, failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the commission members and their party an opportunity to respond to that issue precludes an appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. Third, the failure of an applicant to raise constitutional or other issues related to proposed conditions or approval with detailed specifics enough to allow the city to respond to this issue precludes an action for damages in the circuit court. Prior to the conclusion of the public hearing, any participant may request an opportunity to present additional evidence, arguments, or testimony regarding the application. If such a request is made, the law states the commission shall state the granting request by either continue hearing to a time and date at least 7 days from the date of the initial hearing, or the record must be kept open for that period of at least 7 days. Now, are there any questions of anyone at this point? By anyone at this point? And then I have to ask the question, is there any members of this commission who have had an alphabetic conflict of interest or bias will not be allowed to render an impartial decision? Hearing none, we will go on. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to challenge the qualification of any members of this commission? Well, that's questionable. The public hearing is now open, and we are ready for a staff report. Dawn, please.
Perfect. Thank you, Bob. I'm going to share my screen now and provide a little slideshow that Mr. Gomez provided a great bunch of pictures. So that was kind of exciting. Okay. So, whoops, sorry. So Historic Landmark Commission application 185-21, applicant Chuck Gomez, as you stated. Property is located at 221 East 2nd, definitely a prominent corner in our historic downtown. Vicinity Map.
Pretty.
Yes. So this Yeah, just that kind of it's amazing what you can do with Photoshop. So.
I know.
So basically, as everyone knows, I provide a vicinity map on every application. If you don't know where the Granada is, I will take you there myself, but I think everybody pretty much knows where the Granada is. So in terms of existing conditions, as you know, Chuck and Deborah purchased the Granada from Urban Renewal a few years back and saved this beautiful gem. And in the process had done some restoration work to the exterior as well as some extensive work on the interior. In terms of the historic building as it stands, there was what we would consider or classify as minor alterations that have been made to the facade. Right now, the applicant has received a grant from the Oregon Main Street, and Chuck can give you some additional information with regards to that, which is, it's huge. I mean, our community has really benefited from the Main Street program and the monies that come in at the state level. So in terms of the HVAC, or excuse me, the upgrades that were approved, which includes heating and cooling, as well as this awning, which will work in conjunction with the actual heating and cooling system. So the Granada Theater, back in I think it was in the 60s or 70s, there were some awnings that were put on that were what would be considered non-historic or non-appropriate. So Chuck did provide us a render or a photo of those awnings as when they were getting dismantled and removed from the Granada building. And of course, we love our historic photos. This is one of the many historic photos that we have. It shows here, it'll show the actual awnings. It'll be very similar in nature to what is being proposed today. Again, here's another, I think this one's a little bit, yeah, this is a little bit older when the Siberian cream, but it kind of shows these, and I think these were retractable back in the day, or at one time there was some retractable ones there.
Yes, they were.
Okay, so in terms of a correct installation and incorrect installation, the applicant provided details regarding what would be considered correct, which is actually outlining each window rather than a full continuous awning that would go the length of the building. So they are proposing the correct installation. This is just an example, not for color or anything. So I don't think he's planning to do Bumblebee, but, or I should say, I've got a condition that says that we won't, but, so this actually gives a good representation of what actually will be placed on this historic building. They also provided a detail showing the dimensions as well as the company. So McGee is actually very well versed when it comes to applications on historic buildings. So in terms of conditions of criterion, staff believes that this application and request meets all criterion as detailed in the staff report, as well as historic design guidelines outlined in our Title 11-2.095. And staff is recommending approval with 4 conditions of approval. And those conditions include work to be completed in a substantial conformance to the submitted to what was submitted and reviewed. Here's the number 2, colors of the canopy will be required to be compatible with the building colors. Number 3, chemical or physical treatment such as sandblasting that can cause damage to historic materials shall not be used. The surface cleaning of structures, if appropriate, shall be undertaken in the gentlest means possible. And number 4, if applicable, the applicant will need to obtain a structural permit for the proposed awning installation with the Wasco County Building Codes Services. Do you have any questions of staff?
Thank you, Don.
You bet.
You did a wonderful job.
And just today, just to let you all know too, I'm going to start and continue. I think Forrest told me that was a great thing last time, having the motions written so that you guys can actually read straight from the slide.
Hey, at this point, I would like to call the proponent to have him testify and tell us his version of what he's going to build. Charles, would you like to step up? You was there. I hope you come back.
I'm still here. Yes, Bob. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be here with the Historic Commission and we wish to restore the building to its 1929 appearance, function, and profile with historically accurate and correctly shaped and designed awnings for the southern exposure, the southern facing side of the Granada Theater. I can also envision a couple little 2-seat tables out there in front of the cafe. It would be a very lovely addition to the downtown and to the overall historic look of the Granada to have those awnings back as they were when the Granada was built in 1929. We haven't done anything artistic or radical or out of the ordinary, but sometimes just going back to a classic application nowadays is found to be radical or out of the ordinary, but not so for us. We are going back to the roots of the building and wish and hope for the approval of these awnings to move forward with continued restoration and improvements to the historic Granada Theater.
Is there any staff, any commissioners that has a question of the man at this time, the proponent? Hearing none, we will ask if there's anyone here that is opposed or in the audience that is opposed to this application. Hearing none again. Is there anyone that wants to make a comment of any nature that would pertain to Historic Landmark Commission?
I'm curious what colors that they're choosing for the awning that would match with the building. Have you made that selection yet?
We are leaning towards one of the dark colors that is on the front of the building already, one of the original colors of the building, and we'll pick one of the darker colors, just like most of the awnings are in town, very similar to the Morrow building right across the street from us. A dark color, nothing bumblebee-ish or anything like that.
Will there be a pattern of any kind, like a fine stripe or any kind of just a solid?
I believe the awning company said that they use a slightly different accent color thread in the seaming of that, but it's really difficult to discern from more than 2 or 3 feet away. So even though there may be an accent thread found in it, I don't think you'll be able to see any secondary colors on it. We will probably put the number, the address of the building on the corner of the awning. And I think that's going to be all that we have planned right now for the awning.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Anyone else got a question?
Yes.
I just had a quick one. Are these going to be installed on a rigid frame then, so they aren't retractable? Like,
yeah. Correct. They will be on a rigid frame. You saw the original 1929, as Dawn pointed out, very perceptibly that yes, those were retractable. However, you also saw in one of those pictures that they only lasted a few years before they started pulling from the building and tearing. And I think the best application for an awning in this part of the gorge, where we have experienced many high wind situations, is to solidly affix a non-moving awning framework to the front of the Granada. And that's our game plan.
Okay. Is there no one has said they're opposed to this, but you've had an opportunity to speak a couple times. If you have anything more to say, Carl, before we close the public hearing and work on it as commissioners? All right,
I'm good to go.
Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. And at this time, we will deliberate as Landmark Commission members and discuss anything that is up and accept a motion to approve or disapprove or do something.
Thank you very much, Bob. Thank you, committee.
I guess I don't have anything to add. It seems like a great idea to me. It's going to add to the appearance of the building, that's for sure.
Thank you, Eric. I think it will add, will improve the look of the building immensely. I really feel it's slight, when you study the historic pictures of the Granada, it's just missing something. It really needs to have its awnings back. And with all these plate glass windows, the HVAC system said, you know, we could improve the heating and cooling efficiency of the theater and the cafe and the storefronts by as much as 20 to 22%, just with an awning blocking some of the summer sunshine and heat that comes through it. So we're looking forward to it, and I hope we have the full support of the committee. Thank you.
All right, commissioners, does someone want to make a motion?
Well, I would make a motion that we approve the historic landmark proposal 185-1. Sounds like it's been well researched to me and will look good.
I
Thank you,
second
Doug.
that motion.
Doug, will you add with the four conditions to your motion? There's 4 conditions of approval that we need to have added to that original motion.
Oh yeah, plus the 4 recommendations.
All right, we have received a motion to approve with the 4 additions of approval added to it. Now, did someone jump up and say they seconded it?
I second it.
Very good. Is there any further discussion on this subject? If not, we will take a voice vote for Paula on approval. All in favor when she calls your name or however you want to do it. I'll start out with Bob says aye.
Bev says aye.
Doug Lee says aye.
Eric says aye.
And Forrest says aye.
There we go. I see it.
Hey, first.
Finally come back. I think we can say that the motion is passed unanimously. And right now, we're just going to move right over and take the resolution and get it passed and have it off our program. So you'll find it just a little bit farther back in your pamphlet today.
So Bob,
The last page.
I do actually have, if you look at the slide, I do have a recommended motion that is there that can easily be read.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 174-21, approving application HLC 185-21 of Chuck Gomez with the 4 recommended conditions of approval. Thank you, Don.
I'll second that.
Hey, we're moving right along now.
Excuse me, who seconded?
Eric.
Thank you.
Thanks, yeah.
Okay, we all up to speed, Paula?
Yes, you have to vote still.
Okay, I didn't know if you got the second or not. All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Carl. I think
You're welcome.
You're all clear as far as the Landmark Commission. Your application has been approved and the resolution has been approved. So now we're back to looking at my agenda and see what I've got left before I can go out and have another cup of coffee. What did you have in mind at this point, on for a discussion item?
So I already kind of gave you my staff comments, so I don't really have anything more to state.
My apologies. That I meant to take that off. It was on my example and I didn't remove it.
Okay, so Paula doesn't want to hear from us anymore.
That is not true. That is not true.
Well, let's just ask the question. What does the horizon look like? We have someone that's got something in mind next month, or is it too early to tell?
I think it's a little early to tell. However, I will be reaching out to Main Street about that one sign on the Optimo Cigar building across the street. So maybe we'll have that, or maybe someone else like him. I don't have anything right now in queue.
Do we have, it says discussion, do we have any kind of an update that we can give to the adjoining property to the Granada that is fit for publication, where the old recreation was? Is there any future there that we can see?
So we do actually have Mr. Todd Carpenter, who is the gentleman who's purchasing that building from the Urban Renewal Agency. He was able to get his engineering, and he is working with both the city and building codes to obtain a structural permit so he can get back to work and start working on his building. So he's working with Urban Renewal right now, and as soon as we get everything finalized there, then we'll send him on to building codes to get going with the building permits.
Okay, well, we've had great fears for many, many years that we're going to end up with a hole in the ground with that picket fence in front of it there for a long era, and it didn't really materialize much farther than the bad dream that it was going to be there always for a long time. And people are asking,
What is that noise?
I don't-
It's me.
Excuse me.
And
It's not me.
we're in the budget program for the city right now. Do you foresee any money for the demolition of the drugstore?
So it is my understanding that at this time, based on the budget numbers that were given, or the estimates that were given, that is not something in the forefront. And maybe that's another potential silver lining with COVID, in that, the monies are being allocated in different places, and not, that doesn't seem to be a top priority of council right now. I can verify that, but that it is not my understanding that they're proceeding with that plan at this time.
I don't know. If our connections are getting much worse, we'll just quit the hole. But these are two items that are constantly in the forefront. And if they know you're on the landmark commission, people will grab you on the street. And I kind of like to give them some kind of rather than a stupid, I don't know. So, I hear no further comments other than the unaudible ones.
Yeah, so Chair McNary, I will reach out to the city manager and verify that information and provide you an update at the next meeting, or in an email before our next meeting.
Well, it should be somewhat public knowledge where we're hoping to go. I mean, we're not where we're hoping to go, but rather where we're going to get there or not. Let's put it that way. So if no one else got anything to say, we'll turn off these strange noises. Where do you suppose they're coming from, Don? Is it from the transmitting end on yours?
I'm not hearing it here. I don't know. I'm not sure. It seems to have gone away.
I couldn't identify it. I finally just muted everyone, not to be offensive, just to try to cut down. My apologies. Raise your hand if you'd like to speak.
Okay. Thank you. I just wondered if it was some glitch that we all look at our own computers. All right. Now I'm still waiting for that motion to adjourn. Oh,
I think Doug's trying to motion, Paula.
a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion that we adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I'll
guys.
second that.
Oh, yes. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for coming.
Bob,
Yes,
do you think you'd be able to come in tomorrow and sign some documents for me?
yes.
Thank you.
Afternoon.
Pardon me?
Afternoon, not morning, afternoon.
All right, like after 2?
Yeah,
All right, thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Bye, Bob.